Alright, a couple of things I want to go through here. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. There's a couple things we need to pay attention to that we're not paying attention to. Alright, so this is like our first fight. This is just the level 1 or whatever. This is actually just like, seems to be a pretty decent skirmish to me. Watch it play out. So right here, the bug just rushed into all of us, right? He just used his ability that like burrows him in towards us. So that means like he's used his only escape mechanic or his only movement mechanic to come in on us. So what we'd like to see here is everybody dogpile him and ignore these guys. I know he's the tank, but one of the things we need to think about is if Andrew wants to dive this back line, but we're kind of cut off by this guy, if he's already used his escape ability, I think we can like punish and kill him. So I'm going to kind of pause as we go. And same thing for Ray, like suck him back towards us and like body block him and do all those sorts of things to bring him down. We're going to kind of play this and see what happens. Yeah, so basically we did put some damage on him. He got some shields and some heals, and they put too much damage back on us. Doom Titan was a little late to that. If he had managed to get there a little bit quicker, that's not really anything he did badly, but that's just what happened. He could have maybe shoved him back towards us even farther, put a little more damage on him. But that big burst coming out from Ice Mage and Fireman was pretty crazy, so we're all kind of running a little bit weak. So it's tough. Like, we've got to figure out shot calling and fights to kind of retreat as a team here. This is just a losing proposition. So I'm going to keep it going and see what happens. So Tim kind of went back in, took a little bit more poke. I'm still here trying to kind of auto attack. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is basic skirmishing stuff. I don't think there's really a problem with it. We could have backed off a little more intentionally, I guess. Especially if you're low health like Tim and Despotica. And now Ray, you really just can't be up front. They definitely win that first little skirmish. But I mean, we're still pretty strong here or whatever. It's kind of standard stuff. So now we're seeing Tim went top lane. The level, nobody died, so we're all the same level.
For the frozen throne.
We could have had somebody peel off and go bottom instead of kind of dancing around here. If we had made that move a little bit quicker, we would have killed some creeps here and gotten some experience advantage, whereas they're slightly ahead in experience because Ragnaros got up to the top lane before Tim did, so they got a little bit more soak. So we want to make sure as soon as that first little combat happens, there's really no point in sticking around, right? Like, we've used our abilities, we're below half-life, we need to just kind of peel off and go to different lanes. So this is like, we know it's a 3v4, so cause we can see that very clearly. So really Ray needs to not ever kind of hard engage on a 3v4 because we're gonna lose this trade. So Ray didn't take too much because he's Joanna, and Joanna doesn't really take damage, so maybe not too terrible, but as a rule 4v3 is not a good fight to try to look at. So yeah, we're just kind of losing this poke battle 3v4. And Magmar's still getting back to the action.
I'm ready to continue.
But I mean, this is basically all fine. We're not losing in any way here. Alright, so now we theoretically have a little extra soak here. So if they don't send somebody down here, we're gonna start getting ahead. So one thing we need to think about on this map, we're at 1.5 minutes. I think that the first control point becomes available around 2 minutes. But rather than having 3 people in this lane here, we really shouldn't be thinking about nabbing a hero kill or two. What we should really be focusing on is the turrets. And on this map, they have a turret that spawns here, and there's a turret on our side of the map that spawns. Turrets are really, really strong for capturing these points. So whenever we're playing this particular map, we need to really try to get the turret, at least ours, because it's safe. And if we feel like we have any kind of momentum, say we did pick up an early kill or up in levels, maybe even try to steal theirs. Because going into a control point with turrets is amazing. There's also this monster, the Elite Support Camp, is a biotic emitter. It does like AoE healing in a big area. So those are the three kind of objectives that we really want to look at getting, but definitely this is the big one, get this turret. So on this particular map, remember that we really want to get this turret before the first control point pops, and every other control point. We really want to keep turrets going because they're very strong. So let's see what plays out here.
I'm ready to continue the hunt.
So yeah, Doom Titan's getting a little bit of experience. So you can see already a half of a creep wave that he got when they weren't there. And all of a sudden we're a little bit ahead in experience. So we really need to focus on maximizing all that kind of split push. So this is a great time. We're not really going to push up here and take towers, right? Like, that's probably not something we can do. So if there's ever three of us in a lane and we notice there's no pressure, they're probably doing a siege camp or their turret camp. And if they do that in conjunction with the control point timing, it's going to be really bad for us. So we need to not waste time. And it looks like we're kind of mounting up and wanting to do something different. Looks like they went top to gank Tim. Maybe they were just going back to get mana. So I think I made the call to get the turret. And Doom Titan comes up to help. You guys hold mid. They still haven't sent anybody south. So I probably took too much damage there. I should have maybe waited for Doom Titan. In general, you big tanks, Doom Titan and Joanna, if you want to be looking for something to do, it's not really to go gank necessarily, because you're not an assassin. Like, in order to do that, you've got to make sure that someone like my character or Tim's character is really there to put the damage on people. But making shot calls like camps, if you guys, Ray and Andrew, start really paying attention to mercenary camps, and kind of heading there and calling for assistance, I think we're going to improve a lot. So that's something to kind of look for. I stepped too close here, stupidly. So this is a very bad play by me in terms of health management. Yeah, I think I had a retreat there. So if you're ever in this kind of a situation, again, like for Rayrox, even like just poking with your abilities is not really useful at all, because there's no way you're gonna like wear them down, right? It's just a support and a tank. So they're trying to kill you guys and you're staying safe. This is great. So you always want to play it like this. And yeah, just use your abilities to clear waves if you have to. Yep, as long as you're kind of ready to walk back out so you don't really take any damage. Yeah, that's great. Alright, so here we go. So they sent some guys down, so we're up in experience a little bit. Level 4 is when you get your first talent, so we don't have any sort of huge advantage. So Tim is up here, we're all middle, and we know that the control point is spawning. So theoretically, we probably made a call in game to kind of like get ready and group on the control point, right?
Well done.
So Tim's kind of scouting out, seeing if he can ambush anybody. And a little burst on the healer. Didn't really do very much, that's okay. Alright, so yeah, so if we know the healer's top and it's got Tim tied up, that's really good for us. One thing we need to be careful about is you know, coming down here. He got all this free soak because the point wasn't even up yet. So leaving a lane too early, like before the control point's ready, you know, I don't know, like maybe we all came here too early. In general, the tanks and I need to kind of get on the same page, and that I should never be this far forward. This is really bad, right? Because we're trading damage here, but I'm I'm the target that they want. So like Rayrox or Doom Titan, if you're ever on the same screen with Brutus, you want to kind of try to be in front of them if possible. I do play a little bit forward. But anyway, so that's something to work on. So see, like I got initiated on. Seems like we're okay because they don't really have people here, so that might be worth it. So now this point has been up. We've committed a lot of resources to being here, but we didn't stand on it. So kind of just dumb little mistakes we need to be aware of. Alright, so now Tim's coming down. We're all together. And we are going to hit level 6 before them. That's not a talent level, but it's pretty good. We also know that, you know, she's weak here, so we should be noticing that. Hopefully we did call that out. So here, this character puts a shield on herself. As soon as it's down, though, she's very vulnerable. So in shot calling and fights, if you ever see Zarya or any shield kind of characters, a little bit of game knowledge goes a long way. Knowing that her cooldowns are down and she's now a target is really nice. So just things to kind of learn as you go. Alright, so yeah, the Jaina is really kind of deep in here. Tom and I are always going to kind of be in the back line, just hitting whatever we can. It's hard for us to dive safely. So you guys are all... This position is great. If we could have every game like that, that'd be awesome. So we've got like Tim initiated, and then our 2 tanks are coming to support. I wish I could slow the speed down here. Alright, so Tim does a bunch of damage, and of course because he dove in, everybody's targeting him, right? And that makes sense. But now our tanks are here to kind of back him up. Because they've targeted Tim, the other assassin, I'm able to actually roll in and get the kill on Jaina. So now Tim and I are far forward and we're kind of weak. We definitely just got a kill, so that's really good. So one thing we need to start working on as a team is like the objective is what we're here for, and we don't need to wipe them as a team, right? Like we definitely took a lot of punishment there. So really, once we get a kill like that, we need to think of it more like hockey. We need to think of it as a power play. So now all of a sudden they're down to 4 players. We need to disengage, maybe hit Moonwells, or some kind of let Despotica heal us back and stop these skirmishes. So as soon as we get a kill, this isn't always going to be true. Sometimes we can wipe them. But if we're low on resources, if we just used a lot to get that kill, we've got to start thinking about backing off. So here in this fight, Tim's still weak. Especially right here is exactly when we should disengage. This is no good for us anymore. They're in the towers, right? So taking this poke here is really bad. Definitely not what we want to be doing. We placed a turret here, so that's good. So we've got a kill on Jaina. We know we got 8 seconds where she's still down. We should go back to the Moonwell and heal. So Tim's going all the way back. So we need to also make sure if you ever make a decision to get all the way back when we're fighting over an objective, that it's very clear you're doing that. I don't recall remembering that you were doing that. So that if we say, oh, like re-engage or go or whatever, all of a sudden you might as well be dead, right? So now it's a 4v4 because you can't come put any pressure on them. So it's okay if we decide to get back, but we have to make sure that that's kind of a unified decision. So here, we kind of got cocky, I think, because we got that Jaina kill. Felt like we were winning. So now, I mean, this is just a disaster, right? Do you see this turret just free firing on Despotica and Ray? And that turret is a ton of damage. So now, all of a sudden, you look at it, they got 4 players with huge health. I backed off to the Moonwell. And frankly, after any engagement like that, we should all be kind of thinking disengage, go back to Moonwell. That's kind of the big one. But instead, we weren't very clear about what we were doing once we got that Jaina kill, and we all kind of stuck around the point. But we could and should have backed off. So here, this is in way too deep. I think Tom gets caught here. Ray tries to, come back and help, as any good tank should. So it's just overstaying. So now all of a sudden, we've gone from... So Tim's back at full health, but see, Jaina is going to be too, because that's how the res timers work. And now all of a sudden we're really on the back foot. But it didn't feel like this, right? Because we got that early kill, maybe. I don't know. We just kind of played our momentum wrong here. So this is all over the place. Like, basically Tim came back ready to go, and Andrew was still full health. Andrew disengaged really well, by the way, if you rewind and watch. He understood that we got that kill, we need to kind of back off and collect ourselves. Tom and I are just horribly weak, so this is not a winning sort of thing, but Tim still initiated. And as he got re-engaged on, you know, took a decent chunk there. Tom was able to heal it up pretty well.
I'm ready.
So now we definitely need to understand that we're down a player, and they're not. So this is a 4v5, they're all full health, and we're still really weak.
Continue the hunt.
So we need to stay back. And it looks like we're doing that, that's good. Yeah, so any poke there you're taking is basically 1v4, because we're just too weak to re-engage. So you always, as a tank, need to be aware of how ready is the rest of your team to re-engage. Because you engaging by yourself doesn't do anything, right? Like, you're there to set up us to do stuff, but we can't. We're too weak. So you want to just not really get out there yet. So we need to be chilling. Understand that, you know, we've got 76 of it, they've got 40% of it, so there's lots of time still. So this sort of poke is not necessary. If they have a creep wave at our gates and we need to, you know, clear the wave, that's one thing. But this sort of like poking is not a good trait for us. Now that's interesting. You got a really good flip and dive, and that maybe actually was a pretty sick play. Let's see what happens. Definitely got a decent chunk on her. If Ray had been like, you see the timing there is like, if that play had happened 1 second later, Ray would have been able to follow up with additional CC, so just kind of unfortunate there. The other thing you'll notice is happening is in these sorts of engagements, see Ragnarok split bottom, and all of a sudden they're up a little bit in experience. So when we disengage from these sorts of points and get moonwells, if you don't need a moonwell, sometimes a great thing to do is just go to an off lane, especially if you have any kind of clearing power, and clear minions. And in case anybody doesn't really realize this, minions there's these little guys, the guys with the shields in this case, but all minion waves basically look the same. There's going to be a front line of like 3 melee guys, and they're really tough. And there's going to be a little mage guy that has a regen globe in the middle who's extremely weak, dies really quickly. And then there's 3 ranged guys in the back that do a lot of damage but are also really weak. So if you ever go to clear a wave, you would want to, for example, run up here, ignore the melee guys, because you can't kill them easily. You would want to kill the healer, or the like mage NPC, and any weak ranged that are there. Like, let's assume you have an ability that does a little bit of damage, but like you don't have a crazy good wave clear. Take out a couple of these weaker ones, and then mount up and go. Like, it's still, all minions give the same experience. So you're still getting a good little bit of soak, especially this early in the game, but you're not waiting up there auto-attacking these guys just to get those last kills or whatever. You're getting the regen globe, so it'll refill any mana that you might have used doing it, or at least a good chunk of it. You'll get a little bit of experience, then just back off to the Fog of War here, and get back on your mount, and come re-engage with everybody else who maybe after the fight hit the Moonwell. So that's a lot, but it's really important that we start playing that way over these objectives. So getting back to this fight here, we're all back together. Both teams are, you know, battered but not beaten, whatever. So now this is like, you know, Ray's got this re-engage here, and it's just we're just a little off here. It's tough because I don't think that was a bad call necessarily, but I do think communication is really important. In these team fights, the main initiation, you know, if you have an ability that initiates in some way, like Ray's got this big bubble that pulls them in, you just have to figure out how to be vocal about that. You have to say, and as much prep as you can, right? As soon as I get there, I'm going in, I'm going in, I'm going in, here we go. Right? Call your targets. Let us know that you're going in, because we could have maybe punished this little guy right here, the healer that you pulled in. But instead, we're just a little behind. And also, it's bad to engage when they still have a creep wave. We really kind of want to kill the creep wave and then go. For two reasons. The first is it gives us experience. And right now you can see they're at level 7 and we're not. That means they have a talent and we don't. So right now in this fight they're definitely stronger than we are. Also, you know, these minions put pressure on our forts and things if we leave them. Their minions are clearly winning this lane, and they'll push and get a little damage on our towers. And also, as you engage and like auto attack heroes, the minions will always turn and attack you. So we're taking damage from the minions as well. So you always kind of want to wave clear before you initiate. Alright, so let's see what happens. So we retake the point here, and it's 70%. I'm just ridiculously too low life right here, and I'm obviously the primary target for them. I don't know if Tom just had to spend too much time healing other people, or if I took up too much poke. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but this is not good, basically. Alright, so Tom's kind of readjusting healing on me. So a lot's happening here. We put some pretty good damage on the bug, and he had to disengage. It looks like you guys got some good damage here on this one. Now it's interesting because if you've already used any sort of CC ability, you know, there's no point in walking after them, right? They're just going to turn back and shoot you. So once you've used them and used your abilities and they start crawling away, you really kind of want to come back. If all three of you had noticed that this Ragnaros was behind us and the two of us just turned on him right away, even though he's full health and this one's a juicier target, it's just the positioning's all wrong, right? So the bug is like low health, low mana, and he just used his initiation tool to leave. So he's out. He's no longer a threat. This guy is, again, low mana, low health. It would be a nice kill, but without guaranteed CC. Like so let's say, for example, Andrew had the slide tackle up in just a second, and he knew his cooldown was about up. Then it would be a great time to be like, stay on her, I got her, right? Let someone know that you've got a solution or a way to kill her. But if you don't, and nobody says anything, this is what we want to do. We want to really turn on Ragnaros here. So let's kind of see what happens. So yeah, so by chasing her, we landed in this big blizzard, right? So we kind of run away from the blizzard. I think we could have re-engaged on him big time. He looks like a tank, but he's really an assassin. He's a warrior. You know, and we could have blown that up. We could have body blocked and really killed him. That blizzard placement would have made that tough, though. So maybe disengaging here was the right call. Yeah, so that was good. That was like a safe play. That was fine. Yeah, the bug is really weak. Excellent kill. So now, same kind of thing as before, right? We just got a kill, but we're wounded. So sticking around here is not really very good. We really need to disengage and get healthy again. Alright, so that's nice. Again, if we can, we need to disengage. Razel is certainly going to die here. You know, Tim had to get back. So this is just a tough skirmish. I didn't see anything like glaringly bad there, so let's just see what happens here.
A pity. I was beginning.
Yeah, this is bad right here. We needed to kind of leave this zone, I think, and swing back around. Also, as a tank Doom Titan, you want to be a shield for your squishies, for your backline. So even though you left, and that might have been the right call, and like it would have been nice had we left with you, this is not what you want to do as a tank, right? Like all of a sudden, their assassin has a direct line to us, and you could have been a really strong meat shield. Like right now, the thing's kind of bugged. It's not showing me your actual health. Let's see. It looks like you've got 500 health. Yeah, it's like bugged. It's not showing me the correct health. Well, at any rate, I can pretty much guarantee you right now you've got at least 3 times as much health as either one of us. And you can kind of see that by the blue bars. It represents health. So yeah, stick around a little more, Andrew. Really, you would want to die even for your support and your ranged assassin. And you want to be the voice of reason. You want to tell people to get out of there, but don't be the first one out. if you're a tank. And that's true for Ray's character too, Joanna. Actually, Ray's amazing at dying. He's actually too good at it. So, you know, be ready to leave, but leave with your team, never before them. So yeah, we got blown up there. And now as soon as I died, what we need to start thinking about is, this was close, but we've got to be able to make kind of a cost-benefit analysis or whatever, cut our losses and say, okay, we lost this point, right? There's no way we can really win this fight. That's hard to determine, especially when you see such a low health enemy. It feels like we can turn and own, maybe. But we'll get better at this over time, but we need to understand that this battle is lost. We need to leave this. And in doing so, we need to figure out what can we do to kind of make up for it. And creep waves are a great solution to that. So, you know, Tom, Tim even, like, somebody go up here and make sure we're getting the soak in this lane. I mean, even Doom Titan, right? Like, you're not going to go win this fight solo. So, soaking lanes, the people that are getting ready to res, maybe start already talking about siege camps or getting the turret, something to deal with the boss that's getting ready to come because we lost this fight. But instead, I think we kind of, yeah, like, see, we kind of stick around and continue skirmishing here. So we need to do a better job as a team. Like, we're losing all this experience here. If someone had been up here in this lane, we would have been level 8 to their 7, and this boss fight would have been much better for us. But instead, yeah, we kind of stick around and just kind of lick our wounds or whatever. So we need to get better about minimizing the losses when we do lose an objective. Knowing when we've lost it and backing off. So here, let's see. So obviously we need to go deal with this, right? We have to kind of group up and bring him down. These Punishers or Goliaths or whatever they call are just nasty. They're just really strong. Doom Titan is very good about, like, map rotations. I think Andrew may be better than any of us. Unfortunately, by himself it's not worth much. So Doom Titan up here by himself isn't really doing anything. I'm coming up and I do a lot, so that's good. But this situation is really bad, which is, you know, yeah, wave clear and soak and experience is good. And we could even discuss that, like, can 4 people go stop the Goliath and 1 person go split push so that we get some kind of experience going, right, in an off lane? That could be a good call. But this going for kills, right, trying to, like, engage on their caster or something while this is active is a very, very bad trade. Kills just aren't worth that much. And not only that, this is definitely not a guarantee. Matter of fact, it doesn't look very good. So this is very bad, right? This is 3 players for 2. You're not going to get any kills. So this is a super bad team kind of play. Bad like, rotation call. We need to just follow the Goliath and bring it down. Whoops. And you can see up here, the camera's so, like, bad. Server mode. Just the 2 of us already got this thing down to, you know, almost dead. So if all 5 of us had rotated, this really would have been kind of a non-factor. Certainly, like, maybe he would have killed the 2 towers here, but there's no way they'd stick around and take out this whole fort, which I believe is exactly what they do. Yeah, that's really, really bad by us. So yeah, losing that fort for basically nothing. And you notice too that, you know, by taking the 2 towers and the forts, they're now up an entire level. So we need to be careful about that.
My team will begin repair.
Just remember that we need to be fighting for, you know, good reasons or whatever. I'm just gonna turn the game down sound. I wonder if that's been really loud this whole time. Alright. So now we're just pretty fragmented here. I can't remember in game what kind of calls we were making or discussing or whatever. Interesting to me that our bottom lane has pushed pretty much without any help from us. Oh, there we go. Alright, now so this is interesting. They are going to get level 10 basically right now, and we're still very low 9. So we need to be really careful with this kind of engagement, because ults versus no ults, level 10 versus level 9, is like the biggest level disadvantage in the game. So we need to be much more aware of that particular checkpoint or whatever. That power spike is massive. So we're getting ready to engage in a 10v9, level 10 ults versus no ults. This is probably going to be bad. So Doom Titan's looking for a good, engage on the healer, which is a good call. That's definitely a great target to try to engage on. And our positioning here is really good, and Jane is down there, so this is definitely a good start. Oh, there it is right there. So her big pot right here is a massive like AoE heal. And you see they just cocooned me. So sure enough, they hit level 10. They've already used 2 ults, and we don't have ults. If we had had ults, she would already be dead. We would have had enough damage from our respective ults that would have been a thing. So right away, and this is true of ults throughout the game, we need to kind of keep better track of ult usage, right? So first off, if you're ever in a cocoon, everybody should really kind of like understand that you're down a player and you need to peel back. You can actually attack the cocoon and get it released earlier. So that's one thing. Tim here is an assassin. This is a tough call. You can see how they turn back their tanks, their front line turn back and collapse on whoever dived. They did a really good job of that this game. They were good about that. We need to be better about it. So as soon as she used that ult and he used that ult, we needed to just totally do everything we can to disengage from this. This is not good. So Tim had a good little heal there. Yeah, doing that whole fight without me doing damage there was not good. So yeah, all of this time should just be disengaging. The fact that we're still there, like fighting, is not good. Okay, good. So we got out of this. Oh, if Andrew had gotten that push into a slide in her base, we might have popped the healer there. You can see the Zarya again, she's got her own shield, and she also puts the shield on other people, which is just stupid strong. So we got out of that without dying. I'm actually pretty impressed there. So that could have been much worse than it was. That was such a good like timing initiation wise. It just wasn't good in terms of the fact that they had ults and we didn't. So, but good job not wiping there. Happy about that. Oh, oops, what have I done? I made it faster. So now we have ults. They are a level up, but that just means stats at this point. They don't have like an extra talent or whatever. So going in and initiating like that, 4v3, this could be good. So this is where I think if a tank like Doom Titan chooses this character, yes, she has a shield, but we're just not really in good position for me to be going for this Jaina. So basically whoever Doom Titan flips, I think we just have to kind of dogpile and go for it. So she didn't receive much pressure and we got juked. So now let's look at what just happened. So she used the ult. That's a big, it's called Graviton Surge, right? Yeah, Graviton Surge. She launches a gravity bomb, which she did here, that sucks people in. So it stopped Tim from killing her. It knocked Magmar back. So basically what you want to think about is resource management, right? So she just used an ult to survive. And that's good for us, right? We can use that to our advantage, but in order to do so we have to back off. We also notice, again, I need to be more vocal about this, or anyone who gets cocooned. I got cocooned, so I'm out of the battle. And you can see the ice elemental, it's kind of hard to see, but she spawned a water elemental here, and that's Jaina's ult. So they just used 3 ults to our none, or it looks like Ray used an ult. He used a Captain America shield. But if we notice that they've used 3 ults, that's a really good time to disengage, kind of rally and group up, and then try to re-engage, and then we have a big ult advantage. But instead, we overcommit to this. Right, so this is no good. Like, you two committing to that while Tim and I are back here, you two are never really going to damage a tank like that. Like, maybe if you isolated the mage, you could chase her down, but really we kind of over-chased there. So there's another ult, right? Lily just used her big healing, the tea kettle, and that's a big healing ult. And now we're starting to trade ults. I think we should have backed off and consolidated our ults. You also notice the water elemental back here is melting Tom. That's like a ice elemental joke. And we need to make sure we kill those. I should have been auto-attacking and killing it. Also, again, their melee assassin is just kind of in our backline and not getting punished. I think, in general, the tanks need to look to kind of disengage and punish things in our backline rather than chase. Man, yeah, so we go back and watch that a couple times, but basically we're not really realizing how badly we're starting to lose this fight. And we go for that last kill, but we'd already kind of used our CC. We didn't really have a good way to lock her down. She essentially just walked away from us, and then we just got kind of blasted here. So, questionable start to that fight. Definitely need to disengage when they use ults. And now all of a sudden they completely wiped us. That was a 5-man wipe. And they're probably gonna get this forward out of it, and the control points up. So that's unfortunate. And I think if I remember this game, we pretty much get hosed. So now would be a good example of, we know there's control points coming up. We just rezzed. We are down a lot, but we need to, again, with the control point, we need to be thinking about these turrets. So if we kind of maybe disengaged, instead we go for the fight, which is kind of understandable, right? We just had a big fight that they kind of barely survived, but really what we need to be doing is kind of taking control of the map. And this, just over chasing, it's pretty sloppy overall. Now we're all super weak. This stupid water elemental might actually kill me. Yeah, Tim had gotten cocooned in their back line, so yeah. Alright, so now, so instead of kind of using our res timer to, get merc camps or clear this top wave or something, we just kind of re-engaged. Hindsight's 20/20, but I think in general we're gonna do a lot better if we use the map to our advantage rather than just always hunting kills like that. Just kind of try to manage the map a little bit better as a rule. So yeah, this would have been a great objective to try to get before this point came up, because having that turret would have been nice. Now we're level 11 to their 13, so they're up a talent. So that's not good. So we clear this stuff out. We still, again, okay, so we decided to do this siege camp, but, that's going to be pushing in a lane with the Goliath, and it's probably going to be pretty ineffective. I would have much rather us, focus on getting the turrets. So I paused up here. The camera's super unruly. I hate this camera. So here again, Magmar needs to be sure he's calling out that he's cocooned, if possible. I used an ult to disengage here. We have a shot to get in their backline, but and that, as soon as you see that ult come out, that big teapot that just pumps healing, unless you have some kind of crazy, awesome, guaranteed, kill that you can pull out, you just kind of have to let that go and just look at it as them using an ult. Also, the timing of engaging on this, knowing that they have the Goliath, we should have known that was at 90%, they were gonna get it out. So now we're fighting against this monster, and we know how that goes. So I'm pretty sure in this game, from this point on, they basically just crush us. I don't think that we, I don't think we do much after this point. I think they just kind of walk in. Gosh, why is the camera so bad? I bet there's an unlock camera button, but I don't know what it is. So. Yeah, so... And here we're just kind of on scattered res timers. We could have maybe backed off and had like one last stand or something. I stayed too long. You know, you get that staggered crap. We definitely, you know, you gotta learn to kind of let a building go to try to group back up. Yeah, if I had survived there, probably could have put enough damage on it. The behemoth is just such a beast. Tim and I need to be much more careful kind of with our lives, because when we run this double tank composition, you guys without the backup, or with us to do damage, are just pretty much gonna die every time. So then yeah, just staggered stuff. Yeah, we may have held out a little bit longer here, but basically I think that's the game, right? Yeah, we take a team fight here, but we're way far behind at this point. Yeah.
And come back strong.
So it's cool because I remember fighting this game and we felt like, gosh, like we just couldn't take out their composition, right? Their shields were too good, it was too crazy, we were targeting the wrong thing. But really, like, it came down to a couple of decisions that snowballed them ahead and us behind. So the big takeaways for me are, you know, really think about the map and objectives. Using fights to gain one kill to kind of give you a power play, and then use that power play to go back off, get healthy, and then try to keep taking small advantages. I don't think we always need to go for the 5-man wipe, you know, go for the throat kind of a mentality. We need to play a little more carefully unless we have guarantees. Tanks, you need to kind of stay in front of like my character or Tim's character, the assassins, and just really kind of tank the damage. You're kind of playing maybe a little too much like assassins, and when you do see assassins like on their end, watch for them kind of diving us and get ready to turn and own, like turn on them and use your CC to keep them locked in once they've already engaged, rather than using all of your abilities to chase. I think you need to be using them to peel. So peel for me and Tom in the back line. Stay in front of us and soak up the damage, because that's ultimately your job. And as a team, we need to shot call a lot better, right? Call more stuff out in fights. And so communication, map awareness, and in the fights, tanks need to think more about peel and less about chasing. And I think we'll do much better if we make those adjustments. Alright, thanks for watching.